Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the University of Adelaide graduation. This morning's ceremony is for graduates from the Faculty of Professions. The ceremony will commence very shortly. The university has a contract photographer to provide photography service during the ceremony. If you wish to take photos during the ceremony, I would ask that you do so discreetly from your seat and please do not use flash. To maintain the ceremony's decorum, could you also please switch off your mobile phones? For safety reasons, I would ask guests not to enter the galleries upstairs, and please do not sit on the steps in the balcony area. Thank you. 女士们、先生们，上午好，欢迎来到阿德莱德大学毕业典礼。参加本次毕业典礼的是商学院学生。我们的毕业典礼即将开始，有以下事项请您注意：学校安排了专业的摄影师为毕业生拍照。假如你想自行拍照，请不要离开座位，并关闭闪光灯。为了不影响典礼的正常进行，请您关闭手机，并保持安静。为了您和他人的安全，请不要步入2楼，也请不要坐在阳台的台阶上。谢谢。Ladies and gentlemen, the academic procession is about to enter the hall. We will be singing the national anthem. The words are on page 11 of the program. Please be upstanding for the academic procession and national anthem. 女士们、先生们，我们的典礼队伍即将步入礼堂，随后将演唱国歌。欢迎各位加入我们一同演唱。歌词在你手册的第11页，请起立，欢迎典礼队伍入场。谢谢。
Thank you. us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth of toil, armies scourged by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
I, Kevin John Scarce, Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, declare open this congregation convened for the purposes of presenting degrees. I wish to acknowledge the Kaurna people, the original custodians of the Adelaide Plains and the land upon which the university's campuses at North Terrace, Waite, Theberton and Roseworthy are built. Can I start today's ceremony by congratulating our graduates. It is a special day for you, I know that, and also a special day for your family and friends who I have no doubt have been instrumental throughout your schooling and throughout your degree. Today's a day of reflection, to think about the past, the hurdles you've overcome, the achievements that you've made. Also to think about the future, about the opportunities, about the challenges ahead. We often dwell on the challenges. It sells newspapers and media. I hope you're focused, though, on the opportunities because they are considerable, and if you are to be successful, the same drive, persistence that you've displayed now to get your degree is what you'll need for those next important steps. I have no doubt that the university has prepared you for the future, and I wish you the very best for that. It's also an important day for the university because over the last week and this week we are graduating more than 5,000 or 6,000 tomorrow's leaders in all sorts of areas, from the arts to the professions to law to science. And this is an exciting part of our university because it's the goal that we set ourselves as you start your education to provide tomorrow's leaders with the skills to go out and make a contribution. So enjoy the next steps and certainly make a difference to the world that you want to see into the future. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce today's orator, Dr. Roger Sexton. Dr. Sexton is a leading investment banker and company director. He's a highly qualified economist with advanced skills and training in economics, accounting, business management, investment banking, funds management and finance. Roger graduated from Flinders University in 1970 with a first-class honours degree and then went on to gain a Master of Economics degree and a PhD, both from North Carolina State University. Dr. Sexton has served as the Chief Executive of a number of large organisations in the finance, funds management, investment banking, and served on many boards in a number of public companies and organisations both in Australia and overseas. He has 25 years of experience in finance and banking industries and over 10 years in various public sector roles. He has extensive experience in the funds management industry, having founded and or developed a number of substantial funds management operations in Australia. He's led trade investment missions to Asia Pacific regions over the last 20 years has worked on investment banking transactions in the region. We are privileged to hear him speak today, and I welcome Dr. Roger Sexton.
Chancellor, Deputy Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, members of staff, and especially all graduates. Thank you for the opportunity of addressing you all here today on one of the most important and obviously exciting days of your lives. This graduation day marks a pinnacle of academic achievement for each of you and the start of a new direction in your life. I've no doubt that just getting to this significant point in your lives today would have been quite a journey, involving lots of hard work and personal sacrifices. Each of you will have your own story to tell about the events and experiences of the last 20 years, or however long it's taken to bring you here today. My own journey started in secondary school, when my parents had a brainwave, as parents often do, and decided that it'd be a good idea to send me off to do an aptitude test to see what sort of career I should pursue. Well, the Commonwealth Employment Service in those days was offering free tests. So the appointment was duly made by my mum and dad, and off I trotted at the age of 16 to do my aptitude test at the CES. I remember the experience very vividly to this day. The tests were conducted in a small room, which was fitted out like a small classroom, with inkwells and the whole bit, presumably to make all of us feel at home or feel like we were at school as we were doing the test. I can see as I look around out there, there's some puzzled looks on faces saying, "What are inkwells?" Well, a very nice elderly lady sat at the front of the room like a teacher to conduct the test and set a timer to limit the time taken for each test. I was given a series of books full of questions covering topics from the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, through to mechanical aptitude. Each book of questions had to be completed in 30 minutes. Well, I never finished any of the books before the bell sounded to say that the 30 minutes were up. The ones in the mechanical aptitude book had me particularly stumped, especially the ones where you had to look at a series of wheels, and one wheel was turning anti-clockwise here, and you had to look over here to see which one that way was heading. That had really had me boxed. Anyway, after the tests were over, I had to sit around in a waiting room for a couple of hours while the papers were scored and assessed. I've been told that the CS employment counsellor would be meeting with me and would be giving me the results and explaining what they meant. So when the time finally came for the results to be delivered, I was ushered into a room where a gentleman of Eastern European extraction was sitting behind an old wooden desk. The employment counsellor was a small, chubby person with a balding head and ruddy complexion. He had a large bulbous nose which seemed to dominate his face, a bit like that of the movie actor and director Woody Allen. He wore a brown cardigan and a shirt and tie and looked like he'd been borrowed from the Salvation Army. Well, the gentleman from the CS had obviously had a hard experience in the past in introducing himself by name, so he went to great lengths to break up his name into syllables as he spoke. "Hello," he said, "I'm Mr. Gabrinotsky. Mr. Gabrinotsky." So he emphasised the snot part of his name with a guttural roll of the tongue, which seemed to push the sound out through his nose. I'm not sure to this day what his name actually was, or how it was spelt, but I think it was something like Gabrinovsky, where the F came out like a T. His pronunciation of his name, along with the domination of the nose on his face, immediately caused me to nickname him Mr. Snot in my head. Mr. Snot explained to me that he had migrated from Poland, and I love Polish people, there's nothing about Poland in this, what I'm about to tell you. But he said he was pleased to be able to use the human management skills that he acquired in Poland to get a job in the CES and be able to help, quote unquote, young Australians such as myself. I had a hard time understanding all that he said through his strong Polish accent, but I managed to comprehend that I hadn't scored too highly in the tests. Mr. Snot leafed through the various answer sheets I had filled out that morning, giving me the score on each until he finally came to the conclusion, "In summary, Roger, I wouldn't set your sights on being anything more than a bricklayer." But Mr. Snott continued, "I should not take this badly," he was quick to add, "because being a bricklayer is a very noble profession." Mr. Snott's qualifying comments about bricklaying being a noble profession or noble occupation went straight over my head. Instead, as he spoke, the word bricklayer was being etched into my brain like a red-hot branding iron onto cattle flesh. Was he for real? What happened to my plans to do something special in my life? What would my dad say if I couldn't fulfil the plans that he'd laid out for me to become an engineer at British Petroleum? Then again, what was wrong with being a bricklayer anyway? All these thoughts rushed through my head as Mr. Snott dramatically shut the file on Roger Neil Sexton and ushered me out the door. As I headed down to the Adelaide railway station to catch the train home, the word bricklayer went over and over in my head. And I quickly came to two conclusions. Firstly, the nickname I'd given Mr. Snott was very appropriate, given the message he delivered to me. What a snot. Secondly, it didn't matter what Mr. Snott said. I was going to prove him wrong. I was going to work hard at my studies to achieve something more than being a bricklayer, even if being a bricklayer was a very noble occupation in the eyes of Mr. Snott. By the time I arrived home that day, my mind was made up. I'd worked very hard to make the most of my time I had left at school. Nevertheless, it was with considerable trepidation that I walked to the dinner table at home that night. It was time to fess up. It was time to tell my mum and dad about the outcome of my session at the Commonwealth Employment Service. It was time to face the music. To begin with, the conversation around the table was rather stilted. My father was trying to come to grips with the fact that the plans he'd laid out for me to take a cadetship with British Petroleum might not be viable any longer. My mother, in her typical style, was trying to find the silver lining in this bad news that had been delivered by Mr. Snott, and kept talking about all the building work that was going on in the state. Lots of work for bricklayers. By the end of the meal, Dad had concluded that having a son in the building industry might not be that bad at all, after all. From his role as sales manager at ARC Engineering and his position on the executive down at the Master Builders Association, he had lots of contacts who could help me along in the building industry as a bricklayer. So over the course of dinner that night, my mum and dad had accepted my career fate to become a bricklayer. But I had not. I had other plans. I wasn't sure where they'd take me, but I knew there'd be somewhere else other than working as a bricklayer. I knew that if I could get a good education and develop a set of skills that an employer found valuable, I could open up a whole host of job opportunities, quite apart from laying bricks. If Mr. Snott thought I was going to be a lemon, then I had to find a way of turning myself into lemonade. And so I embarked on a journey of hard work and study, which has me here talking to you today. Along the way, as the Chancellor said, I built a number of very highly successful companies from the ground up. The most recent company which I've established is the Beston Global Food Company. 4 years ago, the Beston Global Food Company was no more than an idea on a piece of paper. Today, the company is listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, employs 190 people, exports to over 15 countries, and operates in the dairy, seafood, meat and health food industries, with 10 factories around Australia and its headquarters here in Adelaide. One of the reasons I was pleased to accept the invitation to address you today is that I have a lot in common with many of you who graduate here today. I understand that many of you have studied agriculture, economics, food, and those of you who have done so will have recognised exactly what I did when I decided to establish the Beston Global Food Company. That is, that we live in a world where demand for food is increasing every day, and yet the supply of foods is not keeping pace with this rising demand. Having sufficient food in the future to feed the world's population will be an increasingly important challenge. Indeed, more than 800 million people in the world today already go hungry every day. But it's not only about more food. On top of this, we have an increasing demand for better quality, more nutritious food. An additional 1.3 billion are expected to attain middle income levels by 2030. And as they do, they'll be looking for more healthy foods, more protein and more high-valued foods, as well as dietary supplements such as vitamins, nutraceuticals and functional foods. There is a market for food and beverage products which is developing rapidly on Australia's doorstep and which is far greater in size than Australia's market will ever be, at least in our lifetimes. India and China alone have a consumer base which is 100 times our population base. All these trends mean that you're about to enter the workforce at a time when the future of the agribusiness industry in Australia has never been brighter or more promising. In my view, those of you who've studied something to do with agriculture, or even if you haven't, have been very clever to select an area to focus on your studies, and you're graduating the right time and in the right place. Australia has the capacity to supply a lot of the emerging consumer needs in the world's food and beverage markets, and you now have the skills to help companies that want to do just that. Australia does not have the resources to be the food bowl for Asia, but we can certainly focus our agricultural industries on supplying niche areas of these emerging markets, or to be the delicatessen for Asia, as one prominent politician put it recently. To do this, however, we need to think big. We need to scale up and capitalise on our burgeoning export markets of our near neighbours. As my dear old mum said to me once, the future belongs to no one. The future belongs to those who get there first. And that was exactly the advice which I put into practice when I set up the Best and Global Food Company. So the message that I wish to leave with you all today is to use what you've learnt in your studies here at Adelaide University to go out and capture the future. Whether you work in agriculture or food or economics, banking, accounting, whatever area it is, think big and act big. Don't take any notice of the Mr. Snots of the world. Don't be held back by limited thinking. The opportunities for you to apply your skills in the world are immense. So go and do it. Leave here today, go out and make your mark. The future is yours to be had.
Hi. On behalf of the graduates and their families attending today's ceremony, I would like to thank Dr. Roger Sexton for his stimulating and inspiring address. We are honored that you have taken the time to join us on this special day and to share your thoughts and experiences. Your words of encouragement and advice are greatly appreciated, and they remind us that education places upon each of us an enduring responsibility to make the best possible use of our talents and to contribute to the betterment of our society in whatever way we can. Please join me once again in thanking Dr. Roger Sexton.
I will now receive candidates for degrees. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor.
Chancellor, I, Professor Warren Bebbington, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, certify to you and the whole University that the graduates who will be presented to you have fulfilled all the conditions prescribed for admission to the awards for which they are so presented.
I, Kevin John Scarce, Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, by the virtue of the power committed to me by the University, confirm that each graduate is admitted to the rank and privileges of the holder of the award in the University of Adelaide for which they are so presented.
Chancellor, I, Professor Noel Lindsay, present to you graduates from the Adelaide Business School. To the degree of Bachelor of Wine Marketing, Chain Nan Lin. Bolan Cow. Aristoli Caponi. Tian Tien Maggie Chen. Lei Chi. Lin Jing Kui. Daniel Gregory Fatchen. Kim Ting Feng. Yui Hu He. Zhou Wei Hu. Benjamin Huang. Zhang Zhang. Danielle Angela Cometa. Aaron Stewart Leary. Aaron also receives the Bachelor of Mathematical and Computer Sciences. Xiaoyang Li. Chanyin Lok. Chung Ki Man. Adam Alex Meshavinsky. Kim Sen Owen. David James Owen. Poon Yik Tung. Ran Si Chu. Zhu Wang. Lucy Wang. Hanlin Xu. Run Xu. Shannon Young. Zixi Zhang. Yu Zhang. And Ningming Zhao. To the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Marketing, Mohammed Suhab Abdul Karim. Ellie Louise Atchison. Long Yat Douglas Chan. Elizabeth Marie Clark. Maria Constas. Colby Sarah Kringle. Colby also receives the Bachelor of Media. Ali El Yusuf. Leah Angela Guerrero. Bianca Jeanette Hackman. Ian Brian Holderhead. Jared Ross Hunter. Patricia John. Kristen Kotsionis. Jack Campbell Johnson. Angela Lee. C. Xian Lim. Ting Hoi Lo. Elkie Amber Martin. David John Matthews. David also receives the Diploma in Languages. Emily Leela Maxwell. Sean David McFarlane. Shay Renee McGregor. Katrin Renee Mola. Harriet Nelligan. Nicholas Robert Peckham. Katerina Riccio. Thomas Patrick Smiley. Thomas also receives the Bachelor of Economics. Walter Lawrence Smith. Katerina Stakopoulos. Tan Sui Kim. Donna Ishani Surinjala Totatwala. Alexandra Trevarro. Mai Hung Trim. Hao Wong. Sitting Wen. Li Young. Wing Ha Yim. Thomas Archibald Young. And Si Hung Yu. To the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Management, Hoi Yi Chung. Andrea Simone de Silva. Devon Lawrence Edwards. James Lachlan Kerr. Thomas Charles Pont. Xiao Shusha Shi. Christina Mary Simpson. Alexander Taverna. Luke Francesco Tripodi. Justin Alec Wenham. And Chao Chen Wu. To the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, International Business, Emily Victoria Anderson. Amy Chok Yao Chan. Nan Chen. Man Kiao Nafisa Cho. Alexander Murray Eames. Alexander also receives the Bachelor of Finance. Tiana Laganin. Tony Nicholas Pignata. Catherine Deanna Salazar. Ziwei Wong. And Bethany Jordan Margaret Woodstock. Bethany also received the Diploma in Languages. To the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Brett Jason Carruthers. Ying Dai. Fu Kai. Meng-Ki Lee. Jessica Massioni. Arnold Barry Sao Leong Ng. Wei Chung Derek. Xin Lei Song. And Renwei Yan. To the honours degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Alexandra Ellen Blandis. Desiree Chandrasekhar. Maxim. And Megan Eleanor Toop. To the Graduate Certificate in Wine Business, Danielle Shane Barton. To the Graduate Diploma in Business Administration, Ignacio Andreas Quintanilla Benavides. To the degree of Master of Wine Business, Kongling Fu. Wenji Ge. Hu Xin Wei. Rao Yu Lu. Jessica Marie McLeish. Shanshan New. Amy Xian. And Georgia Wagner. To the degree of Master of Professional Accounting, Chang Cheng Man. Emily Elizabeth Clark. Jiao Wen Kui. Wanru Dao. Amy Golda Gardner. Yang Gu. Jia Yu. Tianyi Liu. Alan Long. Ling Ao Yong. Nazia Fahin Quadri. Lachlan William Allen Scott. Chuan Yu Tao. Carly Ann Thompson. On Chun Yao. Mandy Lee Young. Dongyang Zhang. And Chu Oran Chow. To the degree of Master of International Business, Yi Shan Lung. And Jiangxi Zhang. To the degree of Master of Finance and Business Economics, Warren Lam. And Pei Liang Zhang. To the degree of Master of Commerce, Marketing, Lillian Fitzroy Cleggett. Wan Fong Ho. Hilaria Juliana. Hannah Louise Monks. Tanya Maricela Marino Diaz. Ashley Wahao Wong. And Sei Bo. To the degree of Master of Commerce coursework, Akash Ahuja. Reem Ibrahim Malala Al-Fasi. Hyun Chung. Mudong Chen. Jiang Cheng Ma. And Tian Ru Ye. To the degree of Master of Commerce Accounting, Afif Ahmad. To the degree of Master of Business Administration, Stephen James Arblaster. Tahsin Bamada. Louise Elwyn Bridgewater. Carolyn Chia. Kyle Luke Dix. Dwayne Scott Edwards. Roberto Lorenzuti. Paula Kitty Michelle. David John Moffat. Timothy William Newman. Tuan Nguyen. John Gopelin Paul. Joseph Frederick Ranford. Adam Peter Rawlings. Anthony Michael Rodham. Takashi Sato. Anthony Spinelli. Sunny Sun. Sunny also receives the Graduate Diploma in Business Administration. Tan Kai Singh. Carmen Troxler. Jason Vassos. Jason also receives the Graduate Diploma in Business Administration. And Ai Kang Zo Mayant. To the degree of Master of Business Administration, Advanced, Charalampos Aguirre. To the degree of Master of Business Management, Justine Bradney. And Louise Marie Jarvis. To the degree of Master of Applied Finance, Vishwajit Singh Benaway. Oliver James Chianchio. Sigjuan Lee. Tuan Lu. Mary Magdalene O'Dick. Jason Keys Parkin. Jiangong Shi. Kai Meng Wang. Luo Wang. Ziyi Wang. Benjamin Guy Wilson. Chang Yu. Paul Yung Kong Yap. Joey Zhang. And Zihan Zhao. To the degree of Master of Accounting and Marketing, Yong Bai. Xuan Chang. Tianming Chen. Qi Jing Deng. Yu Kui Gao. Yi Hong Guok. Ashdeep Singh Hundo. Da Huao. Wan Li Zhang. Hifeng Li. Yi Li. Zhao Liang. Jing Lu. Mei Lu. Her Ren. Len Xuan Ray. Cheng Chuan Sun. Ying Ying Tang. Kai Lung Wang. Wen Xin. Enki Wu. Yan Hui Xiu. Xu Ding. Feng Huang. Lijiang Zhang. Wenbo Zhao. Xin Zhao. Xuzhi Zheng. Lianbu Chao. Yang Chao. Yu Zhu. And King Yang Zhu. To the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for a thesis entitled The Impact of Salvador Experience on Visitors' Loyalty Intentions, Xiaoyu Chen. For a thesis entitled Investigating Effective Social Marketing Campaigns, the Direct and Indirect Impacts of Fear, Challenge, and Fear mixed with challenge appeals on help-seeking intentions, Svetlana DeVos. For a thesis entitled Explaining the Information Content and Completion Rates of On-Market Repurchase Programs Conducted in Australia, Graham Paul Gould. And for a thesis entitled The Impact of Equity-Based Remuneration on Corporate Risk Strategy in the Australian Mining Sector, Will Charles Mackay.
Chancellor, I, Professor Wendy Umberger, present to you the graduates from Global Food Studies. To the degree of Masters of Global Food and Agricultural Business, Trade Policy, Patsara Kamtara. To the degree of Master of Global Food and Agricultural Business, Marketing, Lijun Li. To the degree of Master of Global Food and Agricultural Business, Gurpreet Kaur. Wen Xiao Lao. Man Liu. Kiana Tatunchi. Kanyi Wang. Rohan Lakshmikant Yargap. and Pen Yu. To the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for a thesis entitled The Impact of Customary Inter-Household Transfers on Labor-Led Cash Crop Intensification Among the Smallholder Farmers of Molecular Island, Vanuatu. Timothy Trent Martin. Chancellor, this now concludes the presentation of graduates.
Chancellor, every year the University presents University Medals to acknowledge the most outstanding graduates in each faculty who have completed a University of Adelaide bachelor's degree with honours or bachelor's degree of at least 4 years' duration. The University Medals are awarded to them for their consistently outstanding performance across the whole of their undergraduate studies. I, Professor Warren Bebington, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, present to you the winner of the 2015 University Medal from the Faculty of the Professions, Max Simp.
Now it gives me great pleasure to congratulate all of our new graduates that are with us today. Be proud of what you've worked for to achieve, and certainly remember those who've supported you through the journey. I wish you every success as you enter this next very exciting phase of your life and your career. As graduates of the University of Adelaide, you are also its ambassadors and alumni. Over the years since the university was established, its alumni have made an enormous contribution both to this community and to the world. And throughout the world, we have more than 150,000 alumni in more than 80 countries, and you now join that illustrious group. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our Mace Bearer, Max, and all those that participated in the ceremony today. Universities are much more than just very substantial bricks and mortar. It's about faculty and staff. The faculty and staff that help guide our students through their study. And we are blessed at this university to have some outstanding faculty and staff, and I wish to acknowledge their contribution to the university life and to today's graduates. I'd like all the candidates, the graduates, to remain seated and the rest of us rise so that we can once again today finally congratulate our graduates. Would the graduates rise, the rest remain standing, please, whilst we now proceed to the academic recession. I now declare this congregation adjourned.